recap. Number one, do your homework and figure out what the average price is. Number two, when you figure that out, start looking for a wedding planner. When you look for a wedding planner, now you know what the going price is. So you know if someone's charging more or less. And then you can make an informed decision of what that means to you and to them. So let's say, like right now, the average price for a day of coordination will be about $4,000, I'll say. I think that's on the lower end. So if someone tells you they'll charge you for a day of coordination $1,500, that's very low. And that's all you can afford, maybe. All right, it is what it is. It is what it is. If all you can afford is $1,500, now you know that you need to sit down with this person and put in writing everything that you need them to do, everything that you expect from them. You need to write it down, because there's a very good chance that this person who's charging you a quarter of what the average price is, they may not be very experienced and they may not be very seasoned. For sure, they're not very seasoned, and they may not be very skillful. So you now need to figure out, how to work around your budget. If that's your budget, if your budget is low, you're most likely to get not the best service, right? So you have to really spell it out, the way you want them to be dressed, the time you want them to arrive, the way you want them to communicate with you and with anybody else. All of that has to be spelled out. And I know it sounds silly, but you really do need to absolutely write every little thing. If it is not beyond, if you can afford a good person, if you can afford someone who charges the average, and you find a few people that you like and they charge what everybody charges. Again, this is no guarantee that they're going to be fantastic. It's happening more and more. It drives me crazy. It makes me my mind is blown to see how many incompetent and inexperienced people think they are the shit. They think very highly of themselves and they charge like they are a boss when they are not. It happens more and more and more every day. It is very dangerous. And once again, you need to do your homework. So if you can afford what the average price is, and you find a couple of people that you like, once again, I urge you, in this case, you are not allowed to hire someone who doesn't have at least 20 reviews online. You need to be able to see good written reviews. And when someone leaves a real review, most brides, most couples leaving reviews for wedding vendors, they will be very vocal and very specific and very detailed. They will really put out their experience, how it went, why they liked it or didn't like it. So if someone has a bunch of reviews, but the reviews are like one-liner or nothing, chances are those are just her friends leaving reviews for her. So be aware of that as well. But definitely you want to hire someone who has a website, because that means they take their job seriously. This is not just something that they do on the side. And that you want to have someone that has an online presence, whether it be in Google Business or Yelp. Full stop. Bottom line, that's it. If they don't have those things, please stay away. Do not hire them, because I promise you, you will be disappointed. And once again, I'm saying because this happened to me, and I hire planners for my company all the time. And I'm always so perplexed and so shocked at the lack of competency and the lack of abilities that they display. And everybody thinks they are great. Oh my God, it's fantastic. It just happened. I just hired someone, this poor thing. Oh my God, she looked like a wet dog. First, she comes to the initial interview with me. She's dressed like she's going to the supermarket. She's not dressed for a business meeting. And she's not dressed for one of my weddings, which we were gonna do. I asked her to come to do, to tag along in one of my weddings so she could see what we do and I can show her the ropes. So this was the first time she's meeting me in person and she's gonna be with one of my couples learning the ropes. She knows this. She shows up late. She made up excuses about the train. You cannot tell the people, oh, I'm sorry, the train. That's very unprofessional and immature. But she thought she was so great. And she shows up late, wearing like a puffy coat. And I made a comment about her coat, saying, it's winter and I have a policy that everybody has to be dressed in black. And even though I would love for my planners and coordinators to be wearing a nice suit, I understand because of weather conditions, whether it's summer is way too hot or in the winter so cold, I can't ask for them to wear a suit, but I do want everyone to wear black. And I did say this to her before, but she didn't feel she needed to wear black today because she's not working. She just came for a meet and greet. So she didn't feel that she was working that day, so she didn't need to dress in black. Okay. And she was late because of the train, and she felt she was justified. It was the train, not her fault. Red flag number 2. This is a big red flag because this denotes the state of mind of the person and the person's personality, right? If someone feels that this is not their fault, they are a victim of circumstances, they have this wash hand attitude, this is a big red flag because you don't want this kind of personality, this kind of person working your wedding. Because when something goes wrong, they'll say, oh, it wasn't me. I follow up with them. I send them an email. A wedding coordinator is one of the many jobs that they have is to make sure that every vendor is there and shows up on time and they know what they are doing. So when you have people that behave this way, so cavalier and so, it wasn't me, I don't know, oh, I didn't know I had to wear black, you didn't tell me. When people start behaving this way from the get-go, it informs you that when you give them the job and the day of the job comes, if things don't work out because there was a miscommunication with one of the vendors, somebody was late or whatever happened, instead of this is a person who's not going to take responsibility and take ownership of the event. So instead of saying, I'm sorry this happened, let me fix it, let me take care of it, they will stand back and they will say, oh, but here is the email that I sent them. I did tell them it was his mistake. It's not their problem. When in actuality, it is exactly their problem. When you hire a wedding planner, what you are doing is you're spending money to have someone do what you shouldn't be doing on your wedding day. You're paying them to do something for you, which is coordinate the wedding to make sure that everything flows in harmony and everybody does what they need to do. So you entrust them with the very, very special and important job of making sure that the photographer knows where to go and what time and what they're doing. The violin player knows what songs they have to play, what time they start, what time they finish, when they play. The makeup artist knows where to go, what time, that they're not late. The wedding official, everybody. They are responsible for all the vendors, for coordinating, confirming them. That's their responsibility. And for that reason, you want someone who is able to take responsibility and take ownership. So when someone shows up at my door dressed like they're going to the supermarket and they're showing up 15 to 20 minutes late, and they're acting like I'm out of my mind, I have 3 heads because I commented on their time and their attire, she's very offended. She was very offended. Well, we know this is not a good fit. But the woman who recommended her to me, and she spoke very highly of her, her name is Cristina Cubero, and I met her at a wedding that I did at a venue downtown a few years ago. And she fancies herself a wedding planner. However, when I went to look her up online, to my surprise, I find out that Cristina Cubero doesn't have a website of her own, and she doesn't have an online presence or a Google business or a Yelp page. She does work for an event company, so she is an employee. And this is why I am giving you the advice that I am giving you, because everybody thinks they are awesome. Everybody calls themselves professional, but very few people are. And it is very tricky because they will fool you. As they fool me, they will fool you. And especially when they pull on your heartstrings, it's tough. So you have to be very grounded and very objective. And before you start a conversation with anybody, you need to do the homework that I gave you before. Remember, find out what the average price is and figure out if they have an online presence where you can leave a review if they fail you. If you're not able to leave a review, stay away from them. They're bad news. I hope this was helpful. Thank you again so much for watching. Send me your questions and I will be here every week to answer them for you. Oh my love.